Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Search Podcast. I'm Elliott Manning. Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a very nice, relaxed, well-deserved break over the holidays. This week's episode is just me. I've got no guest on it this week. I just thought I'd talk freely amongst myself, share a bit of information, a bit about me, the year that we've just had, the guests I've had on the show, what we've seen in the market, and kind of what we look to see moving forward. I mean, right now it's a bit of an interesting time with new restrictions just put into place again. And it's not something we're not used to, but I think everyone kind of still panics and, at the same time wonders what is going to happen and what's going on moving forward. But look, we take each day as it comes and each week as it comes. Right now, we can't really do much about it. Is what it is, as they say. So try not to dwell on it. Want to go through, I suppose, last year before I go into anything else about myself. I mean, last year itself, we went into lockdown in March, which was a shock to the system for us all, something we weren't prepared for as a business. Even us at Kayman, we'd never been home working, flexible working. Probably was equipped for it because a lot of the stuff that we do is cloud based and pretty flexible, but at the same time is having that culture interrupted potentially, I'd like to use the word, is something that we had to get used to as a business, and it worked well initially. It was great, but I did seem to think that came to a few months into it, around, I'd say, June, July, and we were in a position where we needed to be around each other to bounce ideas off of each other. And we're in a fortunate position for us where we're actually a local business, and I'd say for me, it takes about 15, 20 minutes to get to work. So I started coming to the office a lot more around July time, and, said to the team, look, if you're fed up and want to be here and, want to work from the office, then please do, come join me, keep me company. We're not going anywhere. We've all been in isolation, enough to the point where we started to create our own little work bubble, I'd like to say. But we couldn't work, if you can't work from home for mental reasons, and, get to the office and, do what you got to do. But I think moving forward from that, learning to do this podcast with the guys at Hoxo and taking on a course just for my own sort of self-development has been a massive game changer for me. And I needed something else to occupy me mentally, as well as, from work purposes, to start, just to develop. I mean, there's never, a point in my career where I feel like I can't keep learning something new. So jumped on the podcast, around that kind of time, I started to get back into work, and it was a massive difference, talking to people in the industry, not from a qualification perspective. You're looking for work, what are you guys looking to do, and can I help you hire? And it was more, tell me about you, tell me about yourself, tell me about your story, let me hear how your journey's been, and not only just in recruitment but recently with everything that's been going on. I've spoken to people that are, unfortunately, some of them aren't actually in those jobs anymore. Even though that these podcasts have only been going for 6 or 7 months, they've had to put themselves in a position where they're looking for something new, which is a shame. I've spoken to people that are in completely different mindsets to how they were back then. They're now looking to the future for different things and different reasons and other ways and means that they can benefit themselves and be more, I suppose, let's just say, selfish about their own circumstance. Yeah, it's endless. I think I would never have been able to do that without having put this podcast out there. And I'm not looking to do this podcast to, I suppose, teach anyone something that they don't already know, or people out there that they, can get, I suppose, I wouldn't say information on, but more inspiration. And I like to use that word for this podcast. It's more of an inspirational journey, this is. And it's to help others out there in recruitment understand and learn what the market's all about, if they're looking to get into it, or even if they're already in it. Also looking to help inspire people that are at low levels and mentally at the minute, and in negative mindsets, that need a bit of some uplift from people that have had success in the market, and people that have started out that aren't seeing the end results. There's a lot of recruiters out there that have been in the game for now 10, 15 years that are running country offices and, teams of 10, 20 people, and, have been there and done it, that can really, really help others out there with, that, I suppose, I'm going to use the word again, inspiration. that's what this whole journey's been about. And it got to the point of, in December, I finished the last one with someone called Harriet from Premier, and she's been at her firm for like 10, 15 years, and it's been an incredible journey. And for others to learn about it is truly, priceless, which you can't really get anywhere else. And, for me, I love it. I absolutely love it. But last year, that was something that got me, and kept me going. It was something that I think the industry needs, and I'd like to hope people want to see. And I'm going to continue doing that every week as long as possible. I did have a break over Christmas, which was quite nice to spend with the little one, but I think I want to continue this ongoing to get as many guests on as possible in many sectors and businesses and locations, and keep it going for this channel. But the response has been incredible as well. The last year on doing this, and just generally as a business, and that's why I get out of bed every day, as well as other personal reasons. Kayman, we've had it's been up and down, I think, for us as a business. We've had months just like others where we've didn't know whether it was going to turn out to be a success or not, but then we've had months that have been a success, and we haven't looked back on those negative months. We've looked forward at the positive months and where we can go from here. I've always been about our journey and where we're going to go as a company, and what we're trying to achieve, and I've done everything I can to maintain the workforce to make that happen. And I think we're in a place now as a business where we've only got a big journey ahead of us, and we've got good plans in place. I've been working closely with James Osborne at the Recruitment Network to help produce these plans and push us forward. And I can't thank those guys enough to who have helped us develop and helped me develop Kayman Recruitment for the foreseeable. We've got hires being made. We're still looking for good people. We've got plans to grow our international offices, and for us, I just want to make sure that we don't do anything different, apart from just keeping ourselves in the place where we are, which is a good place. That's me on last year and the podcasting and where we're going as a business and a journey and why I'm doing this. But I suppose my journey in recruitment, I suppose I've asked everyone else about theirs and what they've done, but I've been in it now since 2007. In recruitment, I started off working in chef recruitment. I used to be a chef, so it was the only option that I thought was my way into the market. A friend of mine was doing tech. I tried interviewing at some tech recruitment companies, and it just wasn't happening. I just didn't have the success to get for them what they wanted. They wanted sales experience, and I found it really tough. So I went to a chef recruitment company and said, look, I'm a chef. You've helped me before, so I'm looking to change my careers. I want to do recruitment. I want more money. I felt that I was working nearly 20 hours a day some days, and I was just not getting the financial rewards I felt like I deserved for the work that I was putting in. So I joined chef recruitment. It was great. Spent some time there, and then I took the 6 months that I needed. I then went into a company called Elliott, who are now Experis under Manpower, and Elliott at the time were a fantastic business, but they struggled quite a lot in the 2008 recession when I was there. Lost a lot of good people, a lot of accounts, a lot of people that I've seen now in recruitment. Someone like Ashley Lawrence, who runs Trenovo, for example, was working next to me and alongside me there. Just as an example, and look, what he's accomplished these days. And they produce some fantastic talent. And in 2008, I decided that after a year doing technology recruitment and the struggles that they were having, it just wasn't going to be the right place for me and the changes that they were making. So I got approached by a company locally who were a brand new business, and they needed someone who wanted to help them grow the company, develop it, build out desks, divisions, and that had a good future for me written all over it. So I joined that. It was in healthcare at that time. It was less framework driven, I suppose. It was not like it is today with different compliance and documentation that is that everyone requires. It was pretty easy as a market to work on, but it was a lot of groundwork to it. No one actually gave me a lot of guidance to what I needed to do. I just did it, and I built one of the most successful desks in that company. I then took on 2 or 3 other desks around me, built a team, and then run a division, which was unbelievable. At that point, then the frameworks came in, and I started seeing my margins being cut, and I started to struggle to try and get enough workload going with workers, to the point where I just thought, you know what, I've really made I've done really well with this. I've really enjoyed it, but I'm all about the earning potential. And it was great. Don't get me wrong. But at that point, after, 2, 3 years of doing it, I thought, let's get back into the city now. Everything's back to normal, and let's get back into a market that I was used to, which was technology, banking, finance. So started working for a company called CER Financial, who are still going today, a boutique firm in Liverpool Street. Set up and worked on their project management desk, which was great fun. Did really well, enjoyed myself, build well. I worked and met some unbelievable people in the company, and absolutely had the most amazing boss, Paul Marsh, who trained me. He mentored me, he helped me. Couldn't ask for anything else from him, but there was something in the background, as I mentioned before. I was striving to earn the money in the market, and really wanted to push myself. And I felt like the only way that I could do that to my own satisfaction was to set up my own agency. And there was no, hard feelings and no problems that I had with the employer at the time. It was just a case of I needed to do my own thing. So I set up Kayman Recruitment from home. I was getting out of bed. I was working on, my desk in the bedroom. It was very weird. I had to have my own self-determination, motivation, ambition, and I really struggled with that. But ultimately, it was the right thing to do at the time. So I was working on it on my own for 6 months. Um, Employed a friend of mine, and it was great fun for, a period of time. I think moving over from that into the point where I got an office after a year, started hiring other people. That was the one thing I really, really struggled with as a business owner, was hiring other people and training them, developing them to work for me in the way that I wanted to work, without me even having, I suppose, I'm going to be honest, the right amount of experience in doing it. It was really a big challenge, and something that I wasn't expecting. I think in the year 3 or 4 of the business, I built up to like 12 heads, big team of recruiters. It was just, unfortunately, it just got out of control. I really couldn't figure out a way to manage it. We weren't making enough money at the time. It was a bit kind of, 1 month let's make money, let's hire, make money, to hire, and that was the wrong way to do it. And I was advised against that. And for my accountant at the time, who was a really good friend of mine, to say, look, you got to set this straight. We wouldn't be where we are today, right? So we stripped it back and built the business again. So I think let's just say the last 3, 4 years is where it's been, where all the magic has kind of come from, and the success and the drive that we've had as a business. Been a lot more sensible, started reading a lot more, learning a lot more, not only on that development piece for myself, but just to help the business, and seeking more advice and investing in things like the recruitment network, investing in other platforms and trying different things out, has really allowed, Cayman to get to where it is, to this day. I absolutely love managing people now. I feel like I'm managing people not on a business team basis as such, but a lot more on an individual basis, and trying to understand who they are, what they're about, what they can do, what they're good at, what their strengths are, what they're not good at, what they don't like, do like. And once I understand that person that works in the business, I'm making sure that then I build a way for them to adapt to what I need and what we want as a company. I've built a business now with strong longevity of the people that work here, which I am really so thankful for. Got the most amazing book of business, and set up that has allowed us to, to keep moving forward. So the point separate to that, I think it was about 2 years ago now, in 2018, I decided at that point I was desperate to get something going on over in the US. And for me, over in the US, it was just an ambition of mine. So I went over to New York. I went there. I think I went there about 10 times in one year, 2019, and built a business, built an office, built a presence, built a database of clients, and made sure that I did it all myself, so that I not only understood it from the ground up, but at the same time, I made sure that there was a platform to work with for us as a company, that I could build and grow, for us to develop, at Cayman. So now we've got 2 people over there. We've got Danny and Corey. Just taking someone else on in Texas who's going to work with us at the same time in that side of the US and help us build our presence in the States as well as what we're trying to achieve in London. But yeah, that's me. I thought I'd kind of wrap that up. I don't know if anyone has heard my background, my story before, but yeah, on to the last kind of, I suppose, subject to throw out there for everyone to kind of listen to and know about is our take on the recruitment market moving forward. I don't have the answer anymore. I thought I did. I did a couple of interviews with the TRN guys, with Gordon, with James, and it was a case of this is where the future's going to go and this is how it's going to look. But since then, I'll be honest with you, it's been a complete and utter mix of some people are really for this home working and really kind of now used to it and set up on it, and nearly been doing it for a year, which is fantastic. But some businesses are doing everything they can to stay in office, keep that going, keep up with their own culture, their environment, their processes that they have internally, and adapting to the way that everything's going with COVID to make that happen. I think even a client of ours yesterday said that we're doing interviews in office, but don't worry, we've got all the PPE here. We're taking temperatures as you come in, and I was actually surprised, and I've never heard anyone say that, but it was good to hear, good to see. But that's the kind of the extent people are going to make it work. In prediction to what is going to be moving forward. I don't know how much or how long people can want to work in office, work from home for, and, not be around other people and colleagues and that have that working environment. I feel like it's a great position to be in for a year or so, but it's gotta wear out at some point. I don't know how, people are going to not want to change that up, but look, each to their own. As I said, I don't see, that's my opinion. I don't know how the market's going to be, and that's why I find it very unpredictable. I just don't know what the changes are that are going to be made unless we get to a point where everyone has had their vaccine and everyone's back to normal again. I reckon, are people going to want to start running straight back to their offices and work as normal, or are they used to what they've got? Who knows? But other than that, the market is extremely aggressive at the minute. It's busy. There's a lot of clients hiring. There's people that have got their growth plans for this year. I think that what happened last year was a lot of companies in recruitment, in my opinion, lost a lot of income from, March to June, July. But from July to the end of the year, they started seeing that rebuild back up again to the point where it potentially balanced out their books and cash flow. I'm not sure. But if it did, it's put them in a position where they are now for Q1 this year to start building a new plan of attack moving forward, which is fantastic. And we've partnered with a lot of those companies to do that. I think a lot of companies are going backwards. I think that the way that they've been working, the way they've treated staff, the way that they are trying to still operate in the same way are causing them a lot of problems. And there's a lot of agencies that have been set up now in the last year that are just going to take over the game in the next, let's say the next generation. Firms are coming up every day that I've never heard of. Businesses have been setting up every day that we're seeing, and we're happy to see, obviously, because it's great for our market and what we do. But it does, it's coming at a cost to the bigger firms. Some have been operating absolutely amazingly, even though despite how big they are. And there's a couple of clients that we work with that are, without naming names, that have lost not a single person and have not had to furlough a single person, have just kept things going the way that they should. And, it's great to see. But, a lot of candidates call us and people that are still working for their current employees, and they're just telling us everything that we may know, don't need to know, should know, find out, and they're not holding anything back. And we don't, I'll be honest, I don't really like when I hear all the negative rumors out there. It's not nice to hear. I feel bad for certain agencies that are having to deal with it. Glassdoor does nobody any good and does have a really poor effect on the market. But again, it's people that take out their anger and frustrations. The best thing they can do is put it on there, just like we do on TripAdvisor, I suppose. When we have a bad meal, some people like to take their time to write the review. Look, is what it is. I think for the market, I think it's got to be done on a week-to-week basis. I don't know how people can forecast the 3, 6, 12 months. I think take each week, if you can, as it comes. Don't overthink things. Don't try and put predictions as much as 6 months down the line, because we just don't know what's going to happen in this current climate. And everyone thought it was going to get better, and it's actually got worse. So just look at the immediate future over the long term, I think. Been nice to talk on this podcast about myself and about the market and what I think, but I'll kind of hold back on what I'm waffling on about, for this whole recording. And look, I think if there's businesses out there that need advice, questions answered, want to just have a chat about the market for any reason, and doesn't even have to have I suppose a purpose to it, but just to have a conversation, I'm more than happy to have a very confidential chat with whoever there is. There's a lot of people that have been reaching out to me over the last year for help, advice, suggestions. What do we do with this? What do you think of this? What have you seen with that? Candidates are calling me just to ask me advice, and I'm all for it. Just drop me a message, give me a call, drop me an email. Happy to help out. If you want us to take a look at, your internal plans of hiring and what you've got going on as a company, let me know. We've got different options and solutions in place now that we can offer as a company to help you with your growth and, what you're trying to achieve. But if you're a candidate and you're really struggling with your current firm, you want to know what other firms are doing, what's out there, happy to have a confidential chat and tell you what's what and what I think. Look, at the end of the day, it's all my opinion. It's all what I think, what I see. Having done Rec to Rec now for about 8-9 years, I've seen a lot, but you're not seeing it all. So some people still do surprise me, which is great. Feel free to keep in touch, reach out, let me know, and stay tuned for more podcasts. See you later.